Today we're going to talk about what you need to do in the 5 years before you retire. These are the essential steps that could make or break your retirement success. The reason this period is so crucial is because the first decade of retirement is a vulnerable one. If you find topics like this helpful, take a moment to subscribe for future content. Thank you for your support. Before we dive into our checklist, let's talk about why these final 5 years are so critical. This is the time when every decision you make could have a lasting impact. This period is also crucial because, in the first decade or so of retirement, you're vulnerable to sequence of returns risk. What this means is, if the market takes a downturn early in your retirement, it can have a more damaging effect on your portfolio's sustainability than if it happened later. Without a proper strategy, you might need to sell investments at low prices to fund your retirement, which could permanently damage or even deplete your portfolio. With that in mind, let's break down the 11 steps to set yourself up for the retirement you want. Stay with me until the end, because the last point might just be the most important one of all. Let's start with something practical. In these last 5 years, you want to max out all the tax-advantaged contributions available to you. Currently, you can contribute up to £60,000 annually to your pension or 100% of your earnings, whichever is lower. For ISAs, you've got a £20,000 annual allowance. Contributions to a pension receive tax relief up front, which can give a significant boost to your retirement savings. If your employer offers matching contributions, it's essential to contribute at least enough to receive the full match. Don't leave free money on the table. Here's something many people overlook: your spouse's allowances. If you're married, you've essentially got double these allowances to work with. That's a significant opportunity for tax-efficient saving. Now, let's talk about being smart with where you keep your investments. It's not just about what you invest in, but where you hold those investments, or asset location. Prioritize saving into your pension over an ISA, if you want to maximize your retirement savings efficiently. It's also prudent to have some investments in a stocks and shares ISA, even if pensions should be your primary focus. The flexibility of ISAs allows you to access funds if needed before reaching the minimum pension age, which rises to 57 in 2028. This is particularly crucial if you're aiming for an earlier retirement. The Chancellor has also dealt a blow to pensions in the autumn budget, announcing that pensions will be included in the estate for inheritance tax purposes starting in 2027. This changes the long-standing spending rule, ISAs first, pensions last, as leaving pensions to the next generation will no longer be tax efficient from 2027. Next, let's talk about simplification. Retirement is far easier to manage with a streamlined portfolio. If you've got multiple pensions from different jobs, or several ISAs, consolidating can make life simpler and easier to manage. Ideally, you don't want to use more than 2 investment platforms, as having too many accounts can lead to unnecessary fees and complexity. The situation is even more concerning with pensions. PensionBee estimates that over 4.8 million pension accounts are considered lost or abandoned, collectively worth over £50 billion. So, take some time to track down those old pensions. Another important consideration is whether to manage your own portfolio using separate funds, or opt for all-in-one fund of funds. There are pros and cons to both approaches. As you near retirement, with more experience under your belt, consider transitioning to a 3-fund portfolio, especially if you are currently using a single fund of funds, such as the HSBC Global Strategy or the Vanguard Life Strategy funds. A 3-fund portfolio offers more control than the fund of funds approach. Why is this significant in retirement? With a fund of funds, its value is determined by the valuation of its constituent funds, so you can't liquidate specific asset classes. With a 3-fund portfolio, you can choose to only sell less volatile assets, like short-term bonds, to meet your income needs, while preserving your equities in a down market. Now, let's discuss preparing your portfolio for retirement. Reallocating your portfolio is key here. As you near retirement, consider glide pathing your assets, by gradually shifting your portfolio from more aggressive investments like equities, to more stable ones like bonds, as you approach retirement. Be opportunistic and take advantage of bull runs or market highs, to reallocate from equities to bonds. You might consider allocating between 25% and 40% of your portfolio to bonds, depending on your risk tolerance. The idea here is to balance the need for growth, with the need for stability. It's particularly important to get this right in the 5 years on either side of your retirement date. This period is often referred to as the retirement danger zone, when a market crash could have the most devastating impact on your retirement plans. While you don't want to be too conservative, since your portfolio needs to last 30 to 40 years, you also can't afford to be too aggressive. Speaking of which, cash reserves are another critical component of your pre-retirement strategy. The general rule of thumb is to keep 2 to 3 years of expenses in cash or cash equivalents. This can act as a buffer, allowing you to avoid selling investments at substantial losses, if the market takes a downturn just as you retire. Another option is the contemporary bucket strategy, which divides your portfolio into 3 buckets, using a time segmentation approach. This corresponds to short-term, medium-term, and long-term expenses. I'm not a fan of the 3-bucket strategy for several reasons, and will point you to my other video discussing this in more depth. There's also a middle ground, the simplified bucket strategy I cover in another video. It is an example of a bucket overlay on the total return approach. This straightforward 6-year, 2-bucket strategy is designed to offer peace of mind without the unnecessary complexity of the 3-bucket strategy. Retirement planning isn't just about investments, it's also about managing what you spend. Ideally, you want to clear any high-interest debt, like credit cards and personal loans, and, if possible, consider paying down your mortgage. Don't forget about those lumpy expenses like house renovations. It's often better to handle these while you're still earning. If you can't clear all your mortgage debt, that's fine. You'll just need to include those payments in your retirement budget. There's no single answer here, and it's not uncommon to continue paying down your mortgage in retirement. It depends on your individual circumstances, the size and terms of your mortgage, and your risk tolerance. Estimating expenses before retirement is essential for validating whether your savings can support your lifestyle and cover unexpected costs over the long term. A clear understanding of projected spending helps guide your withdrawal strategy, prevents overspending, and keeps your finances resilient through market fluctuations. Here's a tip for estimating your current expenses. Rather than sifting through bank statements, use money management services with open banking support to automate the aggregation and analysis of your spending. To keep your retirement income projections realistic, adjust for inflation when estimating future costs in today's money. This is an aspect that many people often overlook. On to discretionary spending, which gives you the freedom to enjoy retirement. Whether you plan to travel, pursue hobbies, or spoil the grandkids, aim for discretionary expenses of around 20% of your retirement income, if possible, though some go as high as 40%. This level of flexibility allows you to adjust your spending based on the state of the market or other life events, without jeopardizing your essentials. However, don't forget that spending tends to peak in early retirement, and then gradually taper off later on. We call this the retirement spending smile. By building flexibility into your budget, you'll be better able to adjust your spending as circumstances change. It's essential to plan your withdrawal strategy in retirement, carefully considering the tax implications of each income source. One strategy is to begin by withdrawing from taxable accounts, such as general investment accounts, while allowing your savings in tax-deferred and tax-free accounts, like pensions and ISAs, to continue growing. If you'll still be paying a mortgage initially, but expect it to be paid off by the time your state pension starts at age 67, that's a substantial change in cash flow that could reduce your dependence on portfolio withdrawals. Effective cash flow modeling, using tools like Voyant and Timeline Planner, will provide a clearer view of how to adjust your withdrawals over time, and help you set a sustainable initial withdrawal rate. You will also be able to stress test your portfolio and assess the impact of, as well as compare, different withdrawal strategies. This will inform your decision on the most appropriate withdrawal rate and strategy for your personal circumstances. I'd recommend evaluating dynamic withdrawal strategies such as Vanguard Dynamic Spending Rule, Geitenklinger Guardrails, and Bengen Floor Ceiling. These strategies offer structured frameworks that help you balance spending flexibility and portfolio longevity, by allowing for withdrawal increases in strong years, while enforcing decreases in lean years. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, we need to talk about defining your identity and purpose in retirement. This might seem a bit out of place in a financial discussion, but trust me, it's crucial. We derive a significant portion of our identity from the value we create at work, the successes we achieve, and the recognition we receive. Redefining your identity and planning for your lifestyle in retirement can be as important as financial planning. And crucially, you want to retire to something, not just from something. Also consider whether a phased retirement might be better for you. It can help you retain a sense of purpose, stay physically active, and maintain your social circles while managing work stress. And don't forget to involve your spouse in this planning. Retirement is a major life transition for both of you, and it's important to be on the same page about your goals and expectations. I hope this overview has been helpful. Planning early, while leaving room for flexibility, gives you the best chance of making those years some of the best of your life. Remember, everyone's situation is different, so it's worth consulting a financial advisor who can offer personalized guidance, tailored to your unique circumstances. If you've made it this far, thank you for joining me today. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.